Welcome to my channel. And my channel is mostly going to be me talking about the games I've been playing throughout the week, and I've been doing it every Friday. Let's get started. Starting off with Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. So I've only owned the 3DS for maybe a year, but throughout that time I never bought Luigi's Mansion 2. I mostly bought that thing for Super Smash Bros. So this is my first time experiencing this game. And overall it's pretty positive. I really liked how different it is from the other two. This one is mission based structured, unlike the other two, and honestly it was a nice change of pace. It really made the game more digestible. It's still as replayable as the other two, because you still get judged by how well you do, how many ghosts you capture, how much money you got, and how much damage you take, and the collectibles you got. So that's still there from the other two. The only real negative things I have to say about this one is the ghost designs. They're very simplistic and generic, and once you find a certain type of ghost, it's always the same color. They're color coded. If you find one that's green, and that same shape ghost is always going to be green. It's never going to be different. And the boss ghosts too aren't that different from the regular ghosts, which they're not that many boss ghosts, but I thought they would have more personality like the first game at least, but I guess it's the technical limitations of the 3DS. But overall it's pretty good. I liked it a lot, and it was definitely worth my $60. Now if you've played the game before on 3DS, then there's no real reason for you to buy the game again unless you're a massive fan of the franchise. But yeah, if you've never played before, I do think it's worth it. I don't know if this is going to be one of those games that goes on deep sale for $30, or if it's going to be one of those staple Nintendo games where the most it's going to go down is $40. And if that's the case, I suggest you wait for that. If not, then it's worth it. The game's pretty lengthy too. It took me 14 hours to beat it. And to me, the length isn't important as much as how fun I have. But still, it's a pretty good length. It didn't overstay its welcome, and you can, like I said, you can play a mission at a time, and the missions can take 20 minutes up to 40 minutes depending on how thorough you are searching everything. But yeah, definitely a good game. The other game I've been playing this week is Fear for the 360. I've been playing it on the Series X since it's backwards compatible, and you can only play this game with a physical copy. You can't buy it digital, especially now that the store is gone. But this is a first-person shooter, but it's a survival horror game. Not in the same sense as Resident Evil. It's more paranormal horror, and this game is really good. I've heard of this game throughout the years, and honestly I've only played the third game, which is, I know, not the best way to get into the series, but I've always wanted to try the first two, specifically because they're more horror than the third one is. And this game came out in 2006, so it's one of the earliest titles for the 360, and it's really good. The gameplay still holds up. The visuals are still pretty good. I mean, you can tell it came out back in the day, but just being a next generation game at the time, it was pretty impressive. There's a lot of detail. There's a lot of physics towards the objects that are in the environment. Like a bucket, you can kick a bucket, or a bathroom wet floor sign. You can interact with that. But the core gameplay feels good. The weapons that you use feel like they actually have some weight to it, and the horror aspect is actually pretty good too, because there's already been times that I've jumped, or I have anxiety to keep going because some of the creepy aspects of the game. And if you're a survival horror fan, you can't go wrong with this game. If you are afraid to play this game because how old it is. It still holds up, you know. So far I'm like in interval 5, I think. That's how divide the chapters in this game. Then so I'm not even sure if I'm halfway through or not. And the game's actually pretty hard too, because I'm playing on normal difficulty, and like the first couple of levels were like doable. Like I didn't have much trouble, but once I reached interval 4 is when I really started to get my butt kicked. That's Fear. And the last game I've been playing this week is a game that the only reason I'm playing, to be honest, is because the movie's coming out this weekend. That's Aliens Fireteam Elite for the PS5. And you know, I'm a huge Aliens fan, I would say. I haven't seen all the movies, but you know, I like the IP. I loved Alien Isolation when I played that a couple years ago. And given my excitement for the new movie, I decided why not? Let's try out this new game. Now, this game is definitely more for co-op. Like you can tell, like it's designed for co-op. But you can play it single player. I'm not sure if you can play it offline, but like it's one of those like cover-based third-person shooters, not exactly like Gears of War. It's like it's more, I guess, simplistic. Like you don't really necessarily need to use cover to do good in this game. It's not that hard. It is one of those games where you're like it's recommended for your like power level to be a certain like level before you should attempt a level. It's one of those types of games like Destiny kind of. But you know, it's not increasingly difficult where that really matters too much. This game is definitely more like really grindiness, just like Destiny. The game's fine. It's not anything amazing. It's not anything towards Alien Isolation. They're completely different. But even Colonial Marines, I think it's called, that came out years ago. I guess this game is probably what that game should have been, but it's not a game I probably would play again, to be honest. But the environments themselves are pretty good, you know, pretty faithful to the IP. The different types of xenomorphs you fire are pretty cool. But yeah, if you can play this game with friends, it's probably a lot better. If you don't, you do get 2 bots that help you. And what's I think was a really nice touch is the bots are actual androids, if you're familiar with the IP. So that's pretty cool. But overall, you know, it's an okay game. It's not a must play, or you know, if you can find it for like $10, it's worth it. Another thing I like to say is like the mission based structure. Like there's not a lot of content in the base game. They've added more since then, but even then it's not as much. If you can find it for $10, I recommend it. Try it out if you like Alien. That's pretty much every game I've played this week. Well, if you guys are interested in any of these games, you know, I do recommend all 3 of these games, I will say that. But you know, it's totally up to you guys, so let me know what you've been playing this week. If you've been playing anything at all, you know, I just want to hear your thoughts. And I'll see you guys next week, same day.